Yes, go ahead.
I'm Asha, and I'm from Fortismith. I'd like to raise the issue about tuition fees. I think it's ridiculously high, and I think you say we want to feed young people's ambitions, and yet tuition fees is something crazy like £9,000 a year. Also, with the rising unemployment figures, even if we do go to university, we're still not guaranteed a job. So we have debts of something like £40,000, and then we have to try and find a job to pay that off. So I'd like to ask what you do about it.
This is more a comment than an answer to your question, really. I do agree with you, but I think the significance for me is the sense of one of the great drivers in terms of social mobility is education. And if we're talking about the difference between the east and the west of this borough, and if we're presuming that the opportunities available to young people on the east of the borough is less than ones to the west of the borough, when you think about the things you just said in the sense of the level of tuition fees, the cost of going to university, coming out of university with a massive debt, then you do restrict people's ability to move within social classes because you restrict their ability to get the education that they need. So in that sense, we're going to move towards a future where there's a fewer number of people able to move from one social class to the other, and those people who do need to move, who can make the biggest move in terms of social status, we're restricting them down. And I absolutely agree with you. And how we change it, I don't know. I'm just a cop. I pass it on to the
Well, I share your concern. I'm a Labour politician. This is a Conservative and Liberal Democrat government that introduced massive tuition fees. I know they didn't think that they would all go up to 9,000, but I think the evidence seems to be that most universities have gone for the upper range. And I went to uni. I didn't have to pay tuition fees. I feel amazingly privileged that I was able to do that. My generation was able to do that. Kind of first in my family to go to uni, but I didn't come out with big debts. And I feel kind of guilty that I was able to do that and that young people now can't. And also that it is certainly the case that people who've got degrees, by and large, get better jobs and earn more than those who don't. That's generally what the research shows us. Because the trouble at the moment is that we're in the middle of a recession, and therefore there is huge problems with graduates getting jobs, just as there are with people who haven't been to uni getting jobs. So I do think it is very, very difficult for young people, and I do think that there's the danger that it will put people off. I would still say that overall it makes sense to go on to college, it makes sense to go on to uni, because the qualifications that you get will hold you in good stead for a future career. You develop yourself, which in some ways is just as important. You don't need to paying back the debt until you start getting a job. And I do understand that it's a huge weight to have over your head, but I suppose you're not the only one. It's the only consolation.
Thank you very much. Put a hand together. That probably wasn't the answer you wanted to get, but your question was answered, right? Yes, unfortunately, but at least they answered your question very well. Thank you very much. Okay, just before we move on, I'd like to invite to the high table the councillor representing Tottenham Green, Councillor Isidoros Kais. Please put your hands together. Okay, so just introduce yourself and the question.
I'm Evan from Parkview, and the question is whether it's immigration, fast food shops, or like help in northeast, south or west of Tottenham and Haringey. Is it being influenced by the area, MPs, the people around us?
So what's being influenced?
So is it being influenced by the area of Tottenham, whether it's the north, east, south or west, or is it the people, or just the things that are going on around us.
So let me just clarify. Let me just check. Are you asking if all these things we're talking about so far, like the fast food places and all this, is it influenced by the different areas of Tottenham, of the borough? Is that what you're asking? Okay, I think. Okay, who would like to go first answering the question?
Can I just, first of all, apologize for being late. I come from another meeting. But if I understood the question right, is have we got the power to influence anything? Is that local people and peace, etc. Have they had any impact? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah. And I think that the truth of the matter is that politicians and others who appear to be in a position of power, they don't have as much power as we sometimes think they do. They don't have as much power. But having said that, they do have some power, and it is important that we put pressure on those people to do the best they can. And sometimes we get away with not doing it. But do believe in it, because it's the basis of our democracy. If you don't believe in it, that you can have a say, and you can have an influence over your politicians who have an influence over what is going on, then you might as well pack it all up and go, that kind of thing. So it's quite important to do it. And they do have more power than some people give them credit, and probably less power than a lot of people think that they have.
I do think there is a difference, whether it's north, south, east or west. I mean, we've talked about the east-west divide just now. It does have an influence in terms of, if you look at, take the fast food, the type of the fast food venue you'll get in the east will be different from the type of the fast food venue you'll get in the west. The type of self-esteem that you will get from some people in the east will be vastly different from the type of self-esteem that you get from some people in the west. And the consequence of that is that some people will be able to control, the public facilities available to them, whether it's influencing a politician, whether it's influencing a police officer, whether it's influencing, the structural layouts of the area. It'll be vastly different. So it does make a difference. But the point is trying to get across a message that individuals, regardless of social status, regardless of environment in which you live in, regardless of the facilities you have available to you, have the right to demand exactly the same of the public services that actually you have on the borough. And I think that's the important thing to get across, and also make available processes to enable people to actually influence, those public services, so you can enjoy the same level of public service. I was going to say the same standard of living, probably clearly not. If the mortality rate is vastly different between the east and west, but at least you can get access to those public services. And your question is absolutely right. Unless we actually acknowledge there is a difference, influenced by different wealth and different education ability in the different parts of the borough, then we end up kidding ourselves.
Thank you very much. Next question.
My name's Aurora and I'm from Parkview. And my question is, all of the things that you said are there to help teenagers or just the youth through the right thing, to eat healthy, they're all there, but how does everybody know about them? Because I didn't know about any of them before I came here. So what are you doing to send the message across that there are places like that?
Well, I think that this is one of the most difficult things, and it's one where really the council needs your help, because there are quite a lot of facilities out there. They're not all run by the council. There are lots of youth projects run by a whole variety of voluntary organisations. There's the sort of ones, the scouts and the guides and things like that. There are a lot of church groups. There are sports-orientated groups. There are theatre groups. There are choirs. There are things going on all the time right across the borough. And the problem is, how do people find out? And I think this goes both ways, that there is something called Youth Space, a website for young people, Have you come across that? Council website for young people? Okay, well, check that out. It's called Youth Space. Just Google and you'll get to it. There's a magazine called Exposure. There is stuff on the council website. So I think we need you to tell us how best to get information to you. Where would you look? Is Facebook where you'd look? Okay, so one of the things you might want to raise at your school is the school is sent regular information from the council. They need to be making that information available to you through the school website so that you can just go onto that and you'll find out what the programme is for summer activities or the programme for the Easter holidays, because there is stuff that is put on by the council all during the holidays and it's important that you know about it. But I think also you have to do a little bit of trying to find out, because one of the things these days is I didn't have the internet when I was growing up. You know, we had to kind of put stamps on letters and go and post them. It was a while before we got a telephone. So, you know, actually things are much easier now for finding stuff out. You can do it, you can just sit there and find out loads of stuff. So, you have a go at doing that. Check it out yourself. I'm sure you do for other things you're interested in, but if you want to know, you can't always expect that the council is going to provide a kind of personalised service where we come round and we talk to you individually and tell you what's on. So I'll take on board the fact that you haven't heard of Youth Space, which clearly is we're not getting that out, and we need to get schools to promote that more. But it would be, I think also you need to be kind of checking things out a bit as well.
Next question, come on this way.
I'm Isra from Portsmouth School. I wanted to ask whether you think that the division in wealth makes an effect on our education and how.
Well, from the council's point of view, you should get a good education, whatever school you go to, wherever your school is in the borough, you should get a good education. What is going to make a difference, though, is the support that parents at home can give. So we can kind of equal things up in the schools. But obviously, some young people have got parents who are well able to help them with their homework, parents who've been to university themselves, parents who work in particular professions and are very knowledgeable about certain areas, and other young people don't have that as an advantage. So things aren't equal in the home, and therefore one of the things that I think is incumbent on schools is to make up the difference, if you like. So provide that little bit more in extra help to those pupils who don't have that resource at home to fall back on. I suspect there are plenty of parents in the west of the borough who pay for private tuition to help their children out. Well, I doubt that that happens very much in Tottenham. And again, it's important that schools are there to help young people do their homework if they haven't got parents who can help and so on. What I think does make a difference, though, is that young people in Tottenham learn to become kind of self-reliant. In a way, if you get your mum and dad to help with your homework all the time, you're going to be at a loss when you go on to uni, because you will have to do it for yourself by then. So it does cut both ways a bit. But yes, there is a responsibility on schools to try and make up the difference, because there is a big difference in the advantages that people in the home that there's more money have.
Does anybody want to add to contribute? Thank you.
I just think, again, we probably missed the importance of vocational training. I mean, I can understand the education, I can understand the formal qualification that you get, and clearly there's a challenge in using that formal education to get a job, but it makes life a lot easier for you to get a job. But we miss out on the vocational training or the vocational education that equally important, and it gears people up to be able to get work that doesn't require the same level of academic achievement. And we sometimes, again, by inference, undermine those. And the importance of it seems to be, you know, you get your A-levels, you go to university, you get your degree, you get your masters and everything else. That's the only important thing, or that's the better form of
of it. It's called the entrepreneur. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get and encourage young people who have wonderful ideas and they want to start their own business to start in the little way they can, and with the help of grants here and there, if you're able to secure, our aim is that we would give them the opportunity to express their ideas, and then we would give them training support and then get some experienced people who have enough information and experience in the area of entrepreneur to equip them with the necessary education that they need and require in that area. Another thing we do presently is, apart from the entrepreneur, we also try to see how we can get young people who are doing very well and who have aspiration to work in a particular field, get them connected with people who are already working in that field, so that they get some kind of mentorship from those kind of schemes. And I hope that answers that question. So these are just the few things we do. With the multipurpose center advert you saw the other time, it's like a center where young people would come to and then they get to express themselves, not the entrepreneur, they express themselves by, and some of them have gifts in the area of singing and all of that. So we try to promote them, we try to expose them. So by doing that, they begin to build on their confidence and they get more experienced. So whenever they go out to apply for a job in that area, they reference Lightup. They've done this with Lightup, blah, blah, blah. And we are also able to give them references as well, just to support their job search. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think what I'll do, even though you didn't ask the question, which is what support are they getting around work experience in the bar,